Lamar criticism is fair?
No, it never has been. It hasn't been since he was leaving Louisville. I'm going to put the context of what he is doing, or at least do my best to put it into context. They are the number 1 seed in the AFC while being the most shorthanded team in football. They have 17 guys on IR. 17. That leads the NFL. Recently, the team that had the second most on IR were the Detroit Lions. They're 0-6. The Ravens are 5-1. Lamar Jackson leads the NFL in rushing and yards per carry, is on pace for 4,800 yards passing. If you look at the teams they've played, just again, context. Week 1, they scored 33 against the Raiders. No team has scored 33 against the Raiders. They scored 31 against the Colts. No team has scored 31 against the Colts. They scored 34 against the Chargers. That's the second most anybody has scored against the Chargers this year. Again, with the most shorthanded roster in the NFL. Lamar's the best player in the NFL right now. Now, if we're going to talk about having to do it in the big moments, we also have to put into context, Stephen A., it's his 4th season. He hasn't been playing for 10 or 12 years. He hasn't had multiple opportunities in the playoffs to go and change a narrative. 2 of those games were his rookie year. So the criticism from Lamar, and I know Mina talked about this earlier in the week, constantly changes of what he can't. Instead of focusing on what he is doing in comparison to what no one else in the NFL can do.
Let's make sure that we do something when we're on this show, Dan Orlovsky. Let's make sure that we in no way imitate trolls on social media.
Sure.
And here's what I mean by that. Let's make sure we quote folks accurately. I'm not talking about you personally, but let's make sure we quote folks accurately and depict and contextualize what we say. No one watching football would question the greatness of Lamar Jackson. I never did that. I said that Lamar Jackson's phenomenal. I said that Lamar Jackson's box office. I even went so far to say is Josh Allen's got 6 years, $258 million. Shoot, Lamar Jackson deserves more. Because not only is he producing the way that Josh Allen has produced, but he's also, people want to go to football games to tailgate and socialize, get drunk, have a party type atmosphere before you actually go and watch the damn football game. You literally go to a stadium to see this brother perform.
Agree.
Because that's how electrifying Lamar Jackson is. We understand that. Where my critique, more so than criticism, a critique of him comes into play is that, okay, your real medal is established in the postseason. No matter how good or how great you are, we are going to look for what you do in the postseason to cement whatever legacy you may have. Now, he's got plenty of time to do it because he's in his 4th year, just his 4th year in the league. He's 24 years old, okay? And I get all of that. But I remember when Peyton Manning came out of Tennessee, clearly as the number 1 overall pick, future Hall of Famer, people had ordained him the next dude. And you know, we all know this. And until he beat Tom Brady, we kept saying, he doesn't have a ring. There's no championship to show for it. Can he get past Tom Brady? Which was why it meant so much in that AFC championship game when Indianapolis beat New England. It wasn't just that they won. It was that they beat New England. And Peyton Manning led the comeback because they were in a deficit in a hole during that AFC championship game. And then ultimately he brought them back. They took the lead. Then Tom Brady got intercepted, and that ended that. And the Indianapolis Colts went on to beat the Chicago Bears in the Super Bowl. Yeah. We got all of that, right?
Lamar Jackson, yep.
He had to do it. What I'm saying about Lamar Jackson is he's got to do it. And the reason why I point to him throwing the football is not because of what we see in the regular season. It's because of what we've seen in the postseason. The last time we saw him in the postseason, yes, he had beat Tennessee, registering his first victory in 3 playoff seasons, okay? But then the very next game, he scored just 3 points in a loss against Buffalo. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, as great as he is, he's 24. You know who's 25 years of age, Dan? Josh Allen. You know who's 26 years of age? Patrick Mahomes. By the way, Both of them are in the same conference. So as a result, they are literal roadblocks to the success and ascension that we hope for from Lamar Jackson. So all I'm saying is, look at that and tell me that I don't have a right to say I need to see this come postseason, because I know Patrick Mahomes is going to be waiting, and I suspect Josh Allen will be too. After all, last time we saw them, they were the two dudes in the AFC Championship game. And by the way, both of them have victories over Lamar Jackson in the postseason, not vice versa. So let's remember that and then ask ourselves, is it really a criticism, or is it a critique highlighting actual facts? Well, I would tell you it's the latter.
Well, I would say in kind of pushback, the last time we saw Patrick and Lamar on the field, Lamar was the better player this year, regular season, and that's not part of your argument. I would also say that, for Lamar to go to the playoffs with this team this year and to go knock off, say, a Kansas City in Buffalo is going to be one of the greatest accomplishments in the history of the NFL. If those teams stay as healthy as they are right now and the Ravens try to hang on with their health, it will be a mountain to climb that is almost unexpected. So I'm not saying that it's unfair that you say he's got to go into the playoffs and beat those guys, but it's also unfair to think that it's just a Lamar thing because of the way his roster, they have the most injured reserve players in the NFL, 7 starters.
Okay.
Ravens winning this?
I can agree with that.
Dan, Ravens winning this?
Winning this weekend?
Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow, Bengals?
Yes.
Joe Burrow, they're no
good.
joke, Cincinnati.
I don't care. They were not winning in Buffalo.
Are you Dan?
Cincinnati's good. I'm excited to see Jamar Chase versus Marlon Humphrey. This would be a good football game. But it's tough for me to go against Lamar right now.
Okay.
It's going to be tough, but I got the Ravens winning at home.
I agree.
All right. Still to come, gentlemen, who's about to come on First Take and predict? The Pates said that this roster, I hope I'm quoting you right, is a 6-0 roster based on talent, right? First of all, good to see you. Hi, Dan.
Yeah, it's
Good
very
morning.
good to see you. It's very good to see you, man. How you doing, man?
I'm glad some of us dressed like an adult today, Stephen A.
Well, first of all, watch your mouth. First of all, watch your mouth. I don't have on a tie, but I do have on a blazer and a collared shirt, number one. And number two, I need you to take the left part of your collar and I need you to stick it under your jacket. Okay, under your jacket. Don't have your collar sticking out of the jacket. Make sure it's under the jacket. There you go.
Right. Maybe not an adult, like a teen. I look like a teen.
All right, guys. Are the Browns, Dan, I'm starting with you. Are the Browns the biggest disappointment this season?
Absolutely, because disappointment comes from expectations. And the expectation for this football team 7 weeks ago, certainly for me, was go win this division. This was the best team roster-wise in the AFC North. Go win this division and show me that you are going to be the team that dethrones the Kansas City Chiefs. Because going into the season, I had said, well, the Chiefs are still the champs, and at least in their conference, and the Buffalo Bills are the team that is most equipped to go knock them off. And then I thought the Browns were right there. And this is a 3-3 team right now with a 6-0 roster. Like I said, this is the most expensive roster in the NFL offensively. Now, their offense has been okay, and I understand that they're dealing with injuries and Baker's shoulder has been an issue, but how about this defense? Myles Garrett is one of the highest paid defensive players in football. John Johnson, the safety they brought over from the Rams, is one of the highest paid safeties in football. They have four top 2 round draft picks on this defense in the secondary in the last 2 years. This defense has got 47 hung on them, 37 hung on them, and 33 hung on them. This was a defense that was a weakness last year that was supposed to be made into a strength this offseason. The expectations for this football team were Super Bowl contenders.